So over the weekend, the Yankees debuted their custom Torpedo bats. Now, Anthony Volpe and Jazz Chisholm Jr., the Yankee players featuring these new Torpedo bats. The bats are designed with a thicker barrel. Sounds dirty, doesn't it? They've moved the weight around closer to the label. The weight of the barrel is closer to the label. And they say that it is all based on, yes, the A word, analytics. That's right. And the nerds have arrived here, and they say that the Yankees studied the hitting tendencies, the tendencies of these players, and they determined that the way they make contact, they need a thicker barrel. They need it shifted closer to the label. Okay. So immediately this sparked a lot of whispering and angry posting on the social media after the Bronx Bombers put up a 20-burger and beat the Brew Crew 20-9 in an American League / National League matchup there over the weekend, little interleague action, a franchise record 9 home runs. Holy Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig, Batman. Yeah, 9 home runs. Now, overall, the weekend has come and gone, and the Pinstripers walloped 15. That is a record 15, a major league record, 15 home runs the first 3 games of the season. Of course, it helps when you hit 9 in one game. So it is all the talk of baseball. All the talk of baseball. So we're doing a talk show. Why don't we talk about it? Let's get into it. Let us discuss the question. All right? Let's do a fill-in-the-blank question. The Yankees analytical department tweaking with the makeup of the bat is blank. Again, the Yankees analytical department tweaking with the makeup of the bats is blank. So I've got 50 Shades of Gray, robotics engineer, and vineyard. And we will combine all of these things together and say, oh, my aching back. The Brewers had an aching back after this weekend. Holy crap. All right, anyway, so let us discuss to answer the question, the fill-in-the-blank question, the Yankees analytical department tweaking with the bats is blank. And my word is, it's a word from animation. It is cartoonish, right? My word is cartoonish because watching the players, it looks like a glitch on your TV if you're blind. Trust me. It's like, what's wrong with the bat? I don't understand. Like, what are they trying to do? I don't. Now, I remember when I was a kid and I'd go out and there was this guy named Dave Parker, and he actually took this from like Willie Stargell and players before him. But he would be in the on-deck circle, and he'd have a sledgehammer. And I always thought, boy, that'd be fun if he went to home plate he forgot and just brought the sledgehammer up to home plate. But he never did. To my knowledge, he never did. And this is a major league game with major league players going up there. It's a very unusual shape. And in terms of the outrage and the blowback, I have this in the 50 Shades of Gray category. It is that gray area. I need to learn a little more about it. At this point, we do the show today. At this point, it's gamesmanship. I'm not going to completely go off the deep end, and it's a very small sample size. So at this point, I'm going gamesmanship by the New York Yankees here, and it's certainly testing the boundaries is what it is. And for now, Major League Baseball, they're saying that these bats, which look like bowling pins, if you know the shape of the bowling pin, you ever go out bowling, the number one participation sport for years has been bowling. They say they're within the rules, and then the Major League Baseball rule book, I love how they break it down. Rule 3.02, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Rule 3.02 states that a bat must be a smooth, round stick, no more than 2.61 inches in diameter at the thickest part and 42 inches in length, made of solid wood. Yes, Sure, I'm talking about bats here. In case you just turned on the radio, you might think I'm discussing something else. Now, the rule says that there's nothing about the location of the fat part of the bat. So where the chubby part of the bat is, if you will, there's no rule that says the chubby part has to be at the end. It's just always been at the end of the bat. And that's just kind of the way we've done things here. And so there's no rule that says that. Now, the Yankees bat, according to the spokespeople for baseball, they say that the bat meets those specs. You just cannot have any cork. No cork in the bat. Sorry, Sammy Sosa. You can't hollow the bat out. There can't be any foreign substances in the bat. And they claim that is the case. So they've used modern advancements here, the New York Yankees, and craftsmanship. The Yankees say the design merely redistributes the wood to optimize the contact, not to alter the ball's reaction. There's no altering the reaction or distance in any kind of illegal way. Of course, did you expect the Yankees to come out here and say, oh, yeah, we're cheating, and here's how we're doing it? No. Now, baseball did confirm. They said they looked into the bats complied. The Yankees are not the only team using them. There's at least two other people who were playing baseball over the weekend that were spotted using this bat, not Yankees. They didn't hit a gazillion home runs. They didn't hit a bunch of home runs. And the other thing here, which leads me to believe it's gamesmanship, is if these were illegal, right? If these were illegal, you would expect the umpires would have immediately stepped in, and you'd also think that the Yankees broadcast team would not have advertised this like a billboard. Look at these new bats. And it became a talking point on the Yankee television broadcast over the weekend. Right? So if they were against the rules, they would have not advertised it. Although, keep in mind, the cheating a-holes in Houston were using illegal contraband like trash cans and whistles and, we believe, buzzers, and they put that in the Major League Baseball World Series video. They had so much pride that they were cheating, and baseball, Rob Manfred loved it so much that they put it in the video, the World Series video. You could see the table where they had the setup to alert the players fastball, breaking ball, and how they could cheat. So there is this mind says, well, yeah, the Yankees wouldn't announce it if it was illegal. However, the Astros, in the World Series video, while they were cheating, promoted the cheating right there. So the rule mentions, going deeper into the minutia, the rule mentions experimental bats need approval. And so these are not standard bats. There's no evidence that they're classified as experimental or unapproved. I remember years ago when I was around baseball a lot, guys would futz around during batting practice with different bats. A lot of guys would use cork bats because chicks dig the long ball. They would try to impress the girls in the crowd, and sometimes that would work out very well for them, if you know what I mean. But in general, like this type of thing, to use it in an actual game, you got to have extra chutzpah to think you're gonna get away with something like that. And now we do expect the other teams to just, if the Yankees continue to play like this, and we'll see what happens when they play a real team, not the Brewers. The Brewers look terrible, my God. We'll see what happens. But everyone will eventually be doing it. And then baseball is going to have to re-examine this, and they'll have to revisit this later. Now, secondly, so who is the mad scientist, the evil scientist that came up with this bat, these torpedo bats for the New York Yankees? I'm glad you asked. So we know a little bit about this. His name is Aaron Lienhart. Aaron Lienhart. He was hired away from MIT by the Yankees. Nerd. Revenge of the Nerds. Back in 2018, a MIT physicist turned baseball analytical dork. Yeah. He has a bachelor degree in electrical engineering. And he used that to develop the unique bat that the Yankees, it's all the rage in baseball this weekend here. One of the amazing things, it's the fat of the bat. Everyone's like, oh, my God, the fat part of the bat's not there. It looks like it's not supposed to be that way. And now Lienhart doesn't even work for the Yankees. Here's the kicker. So the guy that came up with this bat no longer is employed by the Yankees. Did he go back to MIT? No. Does he work for NASA? No. He left the Yankees. He's now the field coordinator for the Miami Marlins. He just left this offseason. Now, keep in mind, when you have that kind of degree, when you are a electrical engineer and that's your degree, most of those degrees lead you to a job in, like, you become an aerospace engineer, you work for NASA or SpaceX, or if you're a robotics engineer, same thing, same concept. You work for one of those companies. You're generally not futzing around with lumber, but here we are. All right, final thought. So we had one player in particular for the Milwaukee baseball team that was very upset by these bats. That would be the closer, Trevor McGill, for Milwaukee. He told the New York Post over the weekend that he thinks it's terrible, that the Yankees are using the Torpedo bats, saying, quote, "I feel like it's something used in slow-pitch softball," McGill said. "It's genius. Put the mass all in one spot. It might be Bush," meaning Bush League. "It might not be, but it's the Yankees," he said, "so they'll let it slide." What is your reaction to Brewers closer Trevor McGill saying Major League Baseball let these Torpedo bats slide because it's the Yankees? So this is the whole Megillah, by the way, the whole Megillah, not McGill, it's the whole Megillah. A good quote. It is a trip to the vineyard is what it is. Picking sour grapes. Now, people have always believed the table is leaning towards the Yankees. I remember when I was around baseball a lot back in the day, and any of the teams that would go in, if you got in trouble with the league office before the internet, and you'd go to New York to play the Mets or the Yankees, you'd have your appeal hearing in the commissioner's office right there on Park Avenue or Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. I think it's Park Avenue. So you'd go to the league office, you'd have in person, because you're playing the Mets or the Yankees, and inevitably you'd lose your appeal or it would be reduced, but you'd still be suspended, and almost always that would start against the Yankees or Mets, thus giving them a competitive advantage, and used to drive people in baseball crazy. Like every time, you have to wait till we get to New York to meet with the commissioner, and then you end up getting suspended. Now, nowadays it's not quite the same. They have changed that over the years. But as far as this guy Trevor McGill is concerned, it is sour grapes, so to a point. Major League Baseball's rules police are not the sharpest tool in the toolbox there. They're not the greatest. Did they actually beta test these? I don't know. I've never heard of this until this weekend. In terms of the size and the fat part of the bat, all that, it's fine. They say everything's okay, there's nothing to see here, and blah, 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 blah. But does it actually significantly improve? Is this myth or is this reality? Is it much better than a normal bat? It's a very small sample size. I tend to think over the course of the season it's not going to be that big a deal, and we'll look back at this and we'll chuckle and be like, "Oh, that's the stupidest thing in the world. I can't believe we talked about this." Are they really magic bats? Like, if they're magic bats, then okay, that's a different conversation. There's something in there. But if you're just moving the wood around, the fat part of the wood, keep an eye on it. At this point, gamesmanship, subject to change. But everyone has access to it. So that's important. It's not like only the Yankees are able to use these bats. Anyone can use these type of bats.